Well, hello. Today I want to talk about the Primary Arms GLx 2X Prism optic. Bottom line first, I think this optic is the best value in Prism optics, and I got three main reasons. First, it's got a bold, eye-catching reticle. Second, it has an etched reticle with user-controlled brightness. And third, it has an adjustable diopter. Now I'll explain these points a bit in detail, compare it to an Aimpoint mini red dot and a TA45 1.5 powered ACOG, and then offer a few more features to share with you. But before I do that, let me give you an introduction. This optic is currently available from Primary Arms website, expected to ship mid-May 2020. Uses the adapted version of the ACSS reticle and sells in the mid $300 range. The GL series is PA's mid-level line. It's got improved glass quality, improved ruggedness, and motion sensing on and off illumination. Now, I had actually been critical of the 1.5 powered Prism optic called the Cyclops on the gun forums, and primarily because I thought the reticle was too small in the field of view. It was just really tiny. And to my surprise, Primary Arms contacted me and offered to send me this prototype optic to test out and give them some feedback, no strings attached. I didn't request the optic. They don't know that I'm doing the review. Here is the rifle that I'm going to use it on. It's a simple carbine, free-floated handguard. I'm a nerdy civilian in my late 40s with bad eyesight and a small budget. I've been shooting AR rifles for years and probably fit best in the Minuteman category. I'm not a door-kicking infantryman. I'm not a law enforcement officer. I need a simple rifle with a simple optic that can serve neighborhood watch duty. Up until this point, I've used an Aimpoint or a TA45 ACOG. I take my gear out to local matches to test it and myself out, and I've not been satisfied with the ACOG or the Aimpoint for different reasons. So I'm going to compare the Primary Arms optic to these, and I think it overcomes the liabilities. Now, you probably think that comparing a new mid-budget optic manufactured in China to an ACOG or an Aimpoint is ridiculous, and you're probably right. But stick around, you might agree with me in the end. All right, let's talk about the reticle. First, it's not tiny. It's got the horseshoe, as maybe some of you are familiar with, for close range and quick shots. It's got a little chevron, and the very tip of that is the 50 or the 200 yard zero. The bottom of the chevron, then the legs are the 300. And then you've got a 400 point and a 500 point down below. This down here is the range finder, where you can have a 300 for the top, 400, 500 for like a 5 foot tall or 5 foot 10, 6 foot, something like that. So you can range how far people are away. Now, this is at 75 yards, taken through the optic with my old cell phone camera, and then cropped, and this is at dusk. But the diopter there really helps you get a clear, crisp reticle. I've got an astigmatism, and that's one of the problems I had with the Aimpoint, was that it gets blurry and stuff like that, especially when I'm tired. Sometimes I can even see 2 dots. I went to the ACOG after that because the ACOGs are, being a prism optic, they're supposed to be helpful with people with astigmatisms, and it is, but it's not adjustable. With the Primary Arms, you can adjust this reticle to be as sharp and precise as you need it to be, whatever your eyesight. Here it is at 200 yards, and this is perhaps one of the most telling pictures. Again, this is taken through the optic with my cell phone camera and then zoomed in and cropped. So this is 200 yards. Look at the quality of that glass. That is really good. I was surprised. It's bright and it's clear. I can easily read the stop sign. There's the year adjustable diopter in the back end. In fact, I even marked mine with paint, so if I got up in the middle of the night or couldn't see very well, I could find it if it got knocked out. Actually, you could do this. You could do one setting with your glasses on and one setting with your glasses off. And so if you get up in the middle of the night and you want to check your focus, you can spin that around and shoot it without your glasses. It'll be in focus for you. All right, so here's the three amigos. Here's the Primary Arms. Here is the Aimpoint. And here is the ACOG. Oh gee, it's 1.5 powered. And you'll notice I've got a piece of bicycle inner tube over the turrets there with a keychain light tucked up underneath. The problem with the ACOG is that I can't control the brightness of the reticle, and it's not such a big deal maybe when you're shooting in the daylight, but there was a match one time where I was shooting from an enclosed structure. It was very, very dim, and I was shooting out into the bright Florida sun. I could not find the reticle. It was too dim to see because of the fiber optic, and it wasn't bright enough with the tritium to make it brighter. It was just gone. And I thought this is going to be a problem. I don't have that problem with the Aimpoint. Obviously, the Aimpoint you can dial up and down, do whatever you want. But the Aimpoint doesn't magnify the image, and it's not very clear. And as you'll see in a bit, the image quality through the glass is poor. Here we go. I took the ACOG and the primary arms out and set them up side by side, and I looked through them around in my neighborhood. Again, this is a house that's about 75 yards away. I'm sitting down with both optics on a stool, detached from the rifle, and I'm just looking through them side by side. When I sat them down side by side, that's when I really started to realize there's something unique and special about this PA2X. Look how big the field of view is compared to the ACOG. Here's the ACOG on top. Here's the primary arms on the bottom. I wonder if you thought they were backwards. No, the primary arms has a much larger field of view. Let's come in here and let's take a look at this. Let me do it. Let's see how. The ACOG goes to the right about that far, so maybe about over here in the image. And then there's two windows on the left, so right there, so maybe about right there. The roof, little bit of daylight there, so a little bit of daylight right there. And then I think maybe down below the curb, so down below the curb right there. Here is the field of view of the ACOG. Compare that to the primary arms. Notice how easily seen the reticle is too. Remember, this is kind of at dusk, sun's going down. That amber triangle of the ACOG starting to get a little hard to see. The horseshoe is easily picked up. And then the next day, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I set them down side by side, all three of them, and looked through at the neighborhood. This is the ACOG on the top, then two primary arms with the illumination turned off, and then the illumination turned on, and then the Aimpoint down below. Look at the field of view comparison. The primary arms field of view is huge. I feel like I'm looking through a toilet paper tube with the ACOG, and the Aimpoint's just, well, it is what it is. Okay, let's get into these now individually. I'm going to play like the eye doctor here. All right, so here's the ACOG at 200 yards. The stop sign is at a measured 200 yards. I can see the reticle, okay? What I want you to focus on is focus either on the stop sign or focus on the details of the car, all right? And so we're going to switch back and forth now like your eye doctor, and I'm going to say 1 or 2. And let me zoom in here so the images are about the same size. Which is clearer? 1 or 2. The glass is even brighter on the primary arms. I'm not sure if that's because the glass itself is higher quality, or that it's got a slightly larger objective lens, or it's an extra half power of magnification. I don't know, but I can very clearly see more detail with the primary arms optic than I can with the ACOG. So there's the primary arms with the illumination turned off. Here's the primary arms with the illumination turned on, and it's hard to see in the picture, but this thing is glowing like a neon sign. I think I would call that daylight bright. And then here's the Aimpoint. I'm sorry, Aimpoint. Look how dim the image is. There's like a blue tint to it. I've got an internal reflection of the red over there in the corner, and I see the dot. That's fine. Yeah, but I'm sorry. That sucks. Somebody said, oh, daylight bright. Well, okay, I pointed it to the brightest part of the Florida sky. Here's the ACOG, bright sky. That's doable. Here's the primary arms, same point in the sky, taking it like 2 minutes apart. That's really good. It's got, I think, to do with the width of the horseshoe. The width of the horseshoe allows your eye to find it very, very quickly. Here's the Aimpoint. Actually, it's easier to see in the picture than it was in person because the Aimpoint's just a little pinprick of light, and so you've really got to dial that thing up. It has no width to it. But again, it works. Okay, how about nighttime? And I'm trying to line these pictures up with the street light here. That's kind of like my point of reference. Here's the ACOG at night, 200 yards. Here's the primary arms at night. There's the street light, 200 yards. Okay, so is it 2 or 1? 1 or 2? This is illumination on kind of like the medium setting, and the illumination now with the ACOG is either the ambient light with the fiber optic or the tritium, maybe a combination of both. 1 or 2. Let's not even talk about 3. I can see the dot, sure, but the rest of it's problematic. All right, so yeah, the primary arms wins. It wins compared to the ACOG because I can turn the brightness up and down, and the glass image quality is better. It wins over the Aimpoint because I've actually got a magnified, clearer image, and I'll be honest, my eyesight's bad. I need all the help that I can get, either to resolve targets at difference or kind of just see what I'm looking at. So the primary arms is winning on both counts. The mount is solid. It's got 2 very strong Torx bolts that go through here. It's got a riser in the middle that you can adjust the height. It comes with 3 different risers. The caps for the turrets have got a little square notch screwdriver head on there so that you can adjust your windage and elevation by just turning the cap over. If primary arms put a little decal or paint on the inside of the cap that said which way was up or down or left or right, that would be great. But it sits well on the rifle and I like it a lot. Here's the underside of the mount. It uses a small ACOG footprint, so it uses a single screw, and then here are the screws then that attach the risers to the body of the optic. And notice it's got a steel insert there to make it secure. And it comes with this nice torque wrench. I thought that was great. The torque wrench is fantastic. Here it is sitting in a carry handle upper with the low riser. And it mounts great. It actually uses the ACOG screw. That's the ACOG screw right there. And notice it sits just high enough to clear, but not too high so to give yourself like a chin weld or something like that. It'd be a great match for a carry handle upper. Primary Arms also says they're coming out with a riser that has a hole in the middle so that you can use the iron sights. But that hasn't been released at the time of this writing. All right, so how does it shoot? Well, when I shot it at an action match, the close-up stuff, like between 5 and 20 yards, I was probably a little slower with the 2X than I was with an Aimpoint, but I'll be honest with you, an Aimpoint red dot rules close quarter stuff. If you're doing really close quarter stuff, the Aimpoint probably is best. Just a single red dot, you find it very, very quickly. It's very fast. But I wasn't slow with the Primary Arms 2X. I was a little slower. Maybe that's because of my bad stereo vision or something like that. I don't know. I think if I practiced with it a bit more and tried less on focusing on the image and just kind of went with it, it would go a little better. The bend and aiming concept or whatever it is. But for the mid distance stuff and then 300 yards, we were running and shooting steel at 300 yards and it was dead on. And that's stuff that I would not be able to do with the Aimpoint. So at distance, it shines. And then in this particular shooting arrangement here, I was shooting off a bag prone at 300 yards with an 8-inch steel plate. And I was using Wolf Gold 55 grain full metal jacket ammunition, and I could regularly hit that plate, probably 8 times out of 10. With just a front bag, and the little legs of the chevron there, that's the bottom of those legs is the 300-yard hold. It was dead on. Just put the little legs on the top of the plate like a hat and ping, ping, ping. Nice. So here it is. Yeah, I think it's going to kill the ACOG. At least it did for me. Both my Aimpoint and my ACOG are now without a home. They're sitting in a box. This Primary Arms 2X GLx, it's winning. We'll see if it lasts as long. The Aimpoint and the ACOG both are known for their durability and longevity. They've got a really good reputation. If this optic lasts as long, it's the ACOG killer. I'm very happy with this and delightfully surprised. I did not expect it. But you saw the images same as I did. You should give it a try. Have a great day. Shoot straight.